right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 12. Takes us to Singapore, another street track, and should be pretty interesting, but we will see. We've had a couple snooze fest races. Mexico was extremely boring, if we're going to be honest. What else was? Now I got to remember what race was even what. Mexico, Austria. Austria, I think if I remember, was pretty fun at the very end. And Japan was pretty boring. I think we had a safety car too. Same with Vegas. So yeah, we've been on a stretch that it's just been like fall asleep. But we've got a couple more people today, and it's a tight street track that still has some overtaking zones. So hopefully it's a little more entertaining as we've lined it up with the real life calendar. So you've seen Singapore in real life. Now the drivers get to take it on in Can-Am. So going from the top, reading off everyone's name, we have 7. 7 is 7. Vivoda is Vivoda. Lucid Cardiac is Lucid. Cloud City is Cloud. MK7 Hitch is Hitch. Anime Boy is Anime. Mini Squatch is Squatch. Final Flame is Flame. Mel Gibson is Mel. Goat Lee is Goat. The Yuppie is Yuppie. Matt Man is Matt. Fate is Fate. Nerf or Nothing is Nerf. Dismal Games is Dismal. And Kryptonic Swang is Kryptonic. We'll see how Nerf does in his Can-Am debut as a reserve for Haas. Have not had too many reserves here in Tier 1, but lucky enough to snag one today and hopefully get the grid a little more full than what it normally would be. We will stay on board with Matt as he starts his first lap here in Singapore. He's going to get us underway. The filter on this track looks absolutely terrible. It looks so whitewashed. But here we go, on board with Matt as he starts his first lap. Sector 1 into turn 1, the left-hander, a little bit of a bend to the right, and then you want to take that corner as tight as you can. Use all the track on the exit. Now, a medium speed right-hander, and again, want to be close to the wall as you exit. Trying to use all the track and carry speed through this straight, the DRS straight. Then a left-hander that I think you can cut some of that curb. Matt maybe just trying to set a banker here. Not being too aggressive yet. Again, want to throttle through this corner as you get another little straight. And now be careful as this is the tighter part of the track as Matt has to slam on the brakes there. And into the hairpin. Takes it nice and tidy. The second DRS zone of the lap. And then that curb is very weird. If you touch it, it almost always loses you some time as the tires are pretty much off the track when you dip into that curb. And now through the final part of the lap, the fast double left-handers don't invalidate and finish with a 130.7. Fastest so far. Vivoda. Not sure if he's on a hot lap or not. Doesn't necessarily appear that he is. If we can find anyone out on a hot lap, Anime is invalid, and he looked like he was close to almost hitting his teammate there. We can go on board with Nerf here, just getting through Sector 1 in the Haas livery. The Japan livery running in Singapore. And this looks like this lap could be a good one. He is hugging every corner, keeping it nice and tight, and really aggressively taking these corners. Using all the track there as Goat does take pole, provisional pole with a 30.2, 5/10 faster. And now Cloud says, yep, 1.6 quicker. Well, 1.8, I think. My brain is fried. Nerf comes across with a 29.2, good enough for second. And we'll see the drivers most likely improve their times as the session continues. With an 0.8 of a gap between Cloud and Nerf. Yuppie also with a 30.6. We're on board with Lucid, who's had some good qualifying results as of recent. And it looks like that might not change as he goes a 28.6 just behind Nerf. Oh, and Flame into the wall. Straight off. Almost got the lap done. And you can see that wing is missing both end plates as he's going to have to trot into the pits. Mel is off the pace there. Let's check in with Kryptonic. Currently second in the season. And with only a couple weeks remaining there, might be a costly mistake as Hitch goes a 28.5. But with only so many races to go in the season, Kryptonic running out of time, and I think he would need nothing short of a miracle, or maybe a couple DNFs from Hitch to find his way through at the very last second of the season. But pretty sure that gap is over 50 points, so would need it to happen twice, and would need to win those races. Easier said than done as he takes the full track width and sideways across the line, invalid, as there's no time as someone, oh, there, now he does have a time. I thought he crossed the line there. Dismal finishing as well with a 29.2 just behind Nerf. And yeah, Kryptonic and Mel a bit off the pace on their laps, so hopefully they'll be able to improve a bit as the session carries on. Vivoto with purple sector 1 if my track map isn't lying, which it might be. Swings the car out wide through this corner. We've seen a couple drivers make some mistakes through this sector of the track. Vivoto looks to take it nicely, as we see Goat improve to a 28.7. Good enough for fourth, putting him above Nerf by a half second here. A lot of drivers still have not done a lap. We only have 10 times. Vivoda looking to make it 11 here. Coming into the last two corners, and it's going to be a 31.2, which is 9th. Still got a ways to go for him. I saw someone switch places on the lap time, but I'm not sure who it was. I think it might have been Mel jumping Kryptonic, and Fate goes P5, 4/10 in front of Nerf, and the field starts to pack up in the middle bunch. We've seen some of these races when we've had a full grid. I mean, an absolute war for that P10 spot. I wonder if we'll see that today. Usually you see your couple people that cluster up during the race, so hopefully some of the drivers are able to hang on to DRS and we don't see the gigantic field spread that we have the last couple weeks. Mexico, I feel like, was in particular very brutal, as we only had about 2 drivers in DRS the entire race. So hopefully we will see a little bit closer of racing action. But you never know. A good, well-timed safety car could change something for the better or the worse. And also, depending on who you're cheering for, the better or the worse. Looks like 7 has gotten a time on the board. It's almost 2 minutes. 9 seconds down through Sector 1, but even that isn't going to net him a position. Still trying to get the hang of, I think, a new setup, maybe a new wheel, and on the PC now, so still getting used to that, and we'll see how he handles one of the more difficult tracks, I would say, in Singapore, as he goes flying off the track. We'll stay on board with Squatch, who's coming up behind him. Okay, Williams is spun around. Squatch to the line. It's a 30.1. It is good enough for 8th. The Haas pair separated by only 1 driver. Flame starting his lap. Nerf is way up on his time, is what it appears. Dismal just starting his lap. Stay on board with Flame and see what he is up to. No time registered yet in the session. Still have 5 minutes to go, so could bail out on this lap and be able to get one more in. Possibly run this lap, run a cool down lap, maybe one more depending on the tire wear. But there goes Hitch into provisional pole by 0.2. Will we see a response from Cloud or any of the other drivers? Kryptonic still in 13th, so he'll be eager to improve by any means. Flame struggling through the second sector. Still trying to find time, still being quite aggressive with it, so tapping the wall a little bit. And now this is the part of the track where he flew straight past the corner. Gets the car slowed down in time, a little bit cautious over those last 2 curbs, and throws it into the final 2 corners as he goes a 29.7, good enough for 8th, slotting right in front of Squatch, and then Kryptonic goes P3, flying up through the order. Dismal, invalid, and he does pit. We've not been on board with Flame or really I think an Alpine today, so we'll watch how he does in his lap. See what his split is in Sector 1. 4:10, so not the start, but does only need a bit of time here to jump ahead of Goat and maybe if you're 13th or 14th, the position won't really matter, and that might be damage. But when you're up in the top 5 and starting at the front rows, you know, every spot counts. Oh, and there's another tag of the wall. Still only a tenth over, even with hitting the wall twice. Should carry on this lap, and literally sounds like he hit the wall a third time. And he's going to box, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get out in time. The drivers all eager to get out here. We've got a couple drivers looking to start their laps. Svoboda might be on a lap. He was only up a tiny bit on his lap. It does drop a small amount. All the drivers now have times. It doesn't mean that they are great times. I think if Seven really wanted to try out a setup, he would just go out here on mediums and just run some laps. See some of the drivers getting out of their pit box for their last laps. Goat invalidated, but looks like he was taking this slow anyway. Alpine, Haas, and Mercedes. 3 teams, all with pairs in the top 10. Some teams do not have their teammate. We're missing a Kick, we're missing a Mercedes, missing an Aston. Missing a Red Bull as well. Should get off a hot lap, see if Goat is moving quickly. He is. Only down a half a tenth, but that Sector 1 is tricky to find time in. Sector 2 is the first part of the track. Okay. And then drives into the wall. This is quite the view. Let's see what happens. I don't know how he hasn't DNF'd the car. Okay, well, session is over. The top 3, all not on a lap. Nerf is invalid, so he's not going to be able to improve. Goat, obviously not improving without an entire wing. So Lucid, going to be the only one fighting for provisional pole here still. This is the first time, really, we've ever seen the top 3 just lock in as soon as the timer ends. Will anyone be able to jump up? Pretty much top 7, almost the entire top 10. Nerf was on an invalid lap, and we'll see Squatch cross the line coming up. See if he's able to improve. That would be a no, maybe a small time improvement, but not moving from 10th. Nerf is invalid, and Lucid, can he dethrone Hitch from provisional pole? No. Just over on his time. Yuppie and Matt coming through the final sector. Mel improves but doesn't move up a spot. Svoboda is going to improve by 2 thousandths. It doesn't matter. Yuppie into the top 10, and Matt across the line. I don't think I saw him move. He's now 12th. Pretty sure he was 12th or 13th before we hopped on board, but there you have it. The top 8 within a second in qualifying. Everyone pretty close to someone around them. 2,000 separating second and third. Lucid just behind. And then Goat, Fate, Dismal, Nerf, Flame, and Yuppie round out the top 10. Then you have Squatch, Matt, Vivoda, Mel, and both Williams, with 7 learning the new setup at his own due pace. 154, just a little bit off the leader. If I can quickly go over the standings as we wait. I was guessing earlier, but here's the most updated version, and yes, Hitch in the lead by 76. Okay, let me do math here. I don't think it is possible because there's still going to be 4 races left. Yeah. So, and plus a sprint. So, no clinching scenario yet for Hitch, but Crotonic would need a miracle to come back, down 76 points. Cloud and Dismal, 3rd and 4th. Gap between them and a gap between Cloud and Crotonic as well. Heatley in 5th, but he is not here. Both Aston Martins in 6th and 7th. Lucid in 8th, Yuppie in 9th, and Squatch in 10th. Then in the Constructors, again, 72 points the gap. It's a little bit better than the drivers being 72, but McLaren, again, would need quite the results to bring this within striking distance and would likely need another some more Hitch DNFs, and we will see if the teams are desperate enough and see what they're able to come up with. But right now, it doesn't look like anyone is going to be able to challenge Hitch and Alpine as a team. In the Tier 1 standings, Williams does get on the board. They got their first point last week, so congrats to them. But in the other tiers as well, we can go over those a little bit. Jensen leads the Tier 2 title fight by only 30 points. And then Clint in 3rd, Ninja 4th, and Thorough 5th, tied with McCoy. In the Constructors, Haas is leading, but only by 12 points. The Aston Martins lurking behind in Tier 2. So that will be a down-to-the-wire scenario. Then in Tier 3, Panda is leading Jonah by 40 points, who is then up on Boss by 82 points. So the podium quite spaced out after those two, and drivers obviously moving around, either not finishing the Tier 3 season or getting promoted. And Williams, as a result of Red Panda being so dominant, is in first in the Constructors by 110 points. Our least competitive Constructors. It's actually Tier 3, where I feel like the races are a lot more competitive at times than some of the other tiers. But yeah, Tier 2 has been a war zone this season. So we've had our close title fights in the past. We've actually had a tie that came down to a tie break in Tier 2, I think last season or 2 seasons ago. And we are on the full wets is what it looks like. Two drivers trying the inters, but oh my goodness, the drivers slipping and sliding around on this formation lap, trying to get grips with the car, and we may have ourselves quite the race today if the rain keeps up. But anything wet to dry, I mean, changes a lot of things in the race and should be in for a good one, at least an entertaining one. Maybe not the best race, but yeah, the Silverstone race, I think, had battles everywhere, and I just remember being so pumped commentating that. That was early in the season, so hoping for another one where we see some good battles and maybe some crazy moves. But we will see what comes of it. The full wets here, and we will throw up the positions changed as we get formed up to the grid. 7, not looking forward to driving this on a new setup. And with lower assists, being a first this season, full wet in one of the most difficult tracks on the calendar is not ideal for the Williams driver, as he is the last car to form up, and we have all 16 on the grid, and we will be ready to get this race underway. Pouring rain in Singapore. We have 5 red lights, and the drivers are off. Maybe not the start that you would imagine from a dry race, but nonetheless, cloud down the inside. We see the overhead, and Goat looks to be sliding along the front of some car, and look at that cluster of drivers following the lead pack. Drivers moving everywhere. We can hear the contact. Goat lunging down the inside of Fate. They go side by side and now rubbing drivers into the wall. We've got maybe another incident, but oh my goodness, Hitch and Cloud still side by side. Cloud taking the inside here. Hitch inching ahead, going to be on the inside. Cloud going for the switchback, gets the move done, and might take the lead. Still there, though, so still has to give space. How great of racing. And now it's going to be tough to take this next part side by side. And yes, Hitch follows in right behind Cloud, but does cede the position. Kryptonic behind as well. And all the drivers staying within touching distance here. The top 5 doesn't separate them. Nerf lurking back in 6, still there. And then the train of drivers behind him coming through this hairpin. And it looks like Goat and Fate, the biggest losers of the first lap so far. Down 4 spots. Everyone has switched positions. We do have a yellow as 7 inevitably was going to lose it at some point. If there was any indication of the dry qualifying, wasn't sure how long he was going to be able to hang on to it in this wet session, as Flame gets a 3-second time penalty, was disqualified for time penalties in Mexico last race. Cloud stretching the gap here to almost a second as he hangs on to this lead and tries to outpace Hitch, as once again McLaren fighting for the constructors, still well within it. And if the race were to finish, 1st and 4th would be a great result for them. But we've got a lot of racing to go. They would inch back in, but they might need even more than that to be able to battle for the constructors. Dismal a little wide, and Lucid and Nerf right behind him. Leaders have fanned out a little bit, and Dismal losing the podium pack as well as Kryptonic losing the top two. Going a little wide, Lucid looking for a spot. Doesn't find it. And Red Panda, Dave saying Red Panda would have been in 5th in Tier 1. Still using assists though, so if he was in Tier 1, I doubt that he would be able to replicate that. We will see that there's only one penalty. We don't really need to see anything else on the timing sheet, so let's just make it smaller for this race. We don't need to see the tires. We don't need to see much. The intermediate tires look to actually be the wrong choice somehow, some way. Usually you can make the intermediates work, but not today. It is downpour, and we've got another caution, 7 in the same spot that happened in the last lap. He's off once again, trying to get the car slowed down after a long straight. Lucid still looking for places to get by. Nope, 7 has not been lucky with the wet tires. Lucid looking for a spot to get by Dismal. Was alongside for maybe a second, but it looks like he had a snap. And now he's still going to slot in behind Dismal, going a little bit defensive just in case. Squatch also right behind Flame. Mel behind him, as there's close racing pretty much throughout the field. I don't know what unjail you. I don't know what that means. Yuppie up into P7. We'll flash this on. Cloud and Hitch have swapped positions. Dismal up 3. Lucid is down 1. Nerf and Yuppie up 2 and 3. With Goat and Fate, both intermediate, both on inters, falling 3 spots. Flame down 1 spot and possibly down a couple more after his penalty. Squatch staying the same. Mel up 2 spots. He's known to be better in the wet. Matt Vivoda and Anime, or Matt and Vivoda down 1, and the Williams pair have stayed the same. And we just keep hearing the wall, the contact on the wall. It looks like Flame is off. Anime may have a little bit of damage too, but now Flame down 5 spots. Everyone netting a position. Now Squatch in the final point scoring position. We'll check up on the 2 leaders here, still racing as hard as can be. They're slipping and sliding their way through the first sector here. And no driver to be seen in the rear view. Just the one driver in front as they are gapping the field here quite a bit. 3 seconds the gap from Kryptonic to Hitch, and not sure what the strategy will be able to do as we are in a wet race, so pit stop isn't even required. Will the undercut be better? Will the overcut be better? But it looks like we have a VSC, no safety car out on track. And probably just some debris on the track. 7's wing looks like he's still on. Not sure about Flames. And there's the missing wing. Anime trotting around the track without his entire wing. It's going to be extra tough when it is pouring rain out. So the race is neutralized for now. And we'll see if certain drivers can get a good jump. And Mel gets a drive-through penalty. Well, that's very unfortunate as it looks like the race has restarted. That was very quick. So under the restart, Mel did not get his Delta and Lucid completely off the track. But looks like slows up enough. And that is not the Tier 3 stream. That's just a Tier 3 driver. Now, Hitch still same gap from behind. It looks like they've increased their gap. Lucid off the track again. Not sure he doesn't have a track limit. At least a couple warnings. Dismal, Lucid, and Nerf all racing pretty closely. Yuppie as well in the background. And the intermediate runners off in the distance, still in front of Squatch. I don't believe you, Dave. 8/10 away, and is the rain slowing up maybe? Are we? I mean, it said that the strategy was wet to wet, so I don't think the track is supposed to dry. It's just going to be a wet, not a wet to enter, and Goat and Fate giving them good information about these intermediate tires. And they have been saying that no, it is not better for right now. Nerf all over the back of Lucid through the hairpin. And we have another caution, as I think that is 7 or maybe a V-carb on the minimap, not too sure. We are riding on board with Nerf, who has pretty much the closest delta to the car in front. Trying to get it stopped up in time, locked up a bit. As Cloud sets the fastest lap, maybe indicating that the track is drying a bit, or maybe indicating that he is just pushing. But Hitch still hanging around there. Fate setting the quickest time with the intermediate tires, and like I said, maybe this is an indication of the crossover period, and maybe the track is drying up a bit. Still raining, but maybe the track is drying a bit if the intermediate tires are quicker. And Goat now within striking distance of Yuppie. Nerf fading off a little bit from this battle, and Lucid now the one close on Dismal's heels. Cloud breaking out, but now we're going to want to think on maybe, do we need to pit for inners? Do we want a 2-stop for 2 inners? Can we make one last for the remaining race? I mean, it's still very early in this race, but the intermediate tires look like they are firing up here, as Goat is making his way to get right behind Yuppie, and we hear a crunch on the wall. Flame has retired from the session, not in the pits, just retiring right down the straight in Sector 1, pulling off for the marshals to grab him. What's one more DNF? Goat looking for a way by versus Yuppie, who looks like he might be a bit faster down the straight, still on those wet tires too. Cloud with another fastest lap. I think the track evolution is coming into play. Hitch now with the quicker lap. Forgot my water bottle was next to me and just kicked it right over. But Goat gets the... Where did Yuppie go? He pit. Okay, we missed that. We didn't miss an overtake. We just missed a... we just missed a pit stop. Lucid off the track, and Nerf maybe looking for a gap, but does not find it. And Lucid has been penalized here. 3 seconds of time penalty. So Nerf will net the position, but I'm sure would love the chance to be fighting Dismal, and might get it if he can time it right with Goat coming into this train and maybe maneuvering around. But you can see These top two drivers are absolutely gapping Kryptonic in third. 7 seconds, and look at behind them as we've got Lucid and Nerf, I think, side by side for a bit there, but Lucid hangs on once again through the hairpin. The Tier 2 stream is real. You can check that one out. The Tier 3 stream is outdated. Not sure if they got a stream tonight or not. We will see. But this has been quite the battle, and I'm sure GOAT will add another layer to the chaos as we have another caution. Looks like the Williams. These three drivers not giving an inch. As Fate is going to coast up to this train on the inters as well. And coast up, I mean just fly up to this train, and pretty sure him and GOAT were the ones getting into it in lap 1 with a bit of contact, so Fate might have something to say, something to do. We will see how aggressive he wants to race GOAT. Generational stat pattern, I'm not sure who you were talking about. I don't know if that relates to your chat message before or now. Oh. As expected. We don't really have battles anywhere else in the field, so we're going to stick here, or we can go to the top 2. This is really where the battle is happening. We have another caution, a Williams, and GOAT gets the move done on Nerf, who I don't think is ready to fully give that up. Fate not looking to attack, and Nerf just slotting in, thinking better of going down the inside. And we'll see if GOAT can maybe disrupt Lucid a bit. Oh, thank you. If that actually worked, I didn't see if it did. Another caution in Sector 1. The Williams team would love a safety car to come out. I can't see it on the PlayStation overlay. It's not like Streamlabs where it shows me all the details. Yep, he getting by his teammate. Looks like the overtake was quite easy. Still the drivers up here still battling as GOAT down the inside. Makes the move. A little bit of contact towards the end of that, but didn't look too bad. And now GOAT setting his sights on Dismal. Then he's got quite the ways to go to Kryptonic, and then he's got a mile to go to get into the top 2, but maybe a third place finish in the sights for GOAT here, returning to the Aston Martin after missing a couple of weeks. Remembering how to drive F1 with each lap that passes, and especially in the wet, I think everyone is on an equal field. No one probably has practiced much of the wet as Fate goes down the inside of Nerf, pushing him back into 8th with his teammate behind, and we have an overtake for the lead here as Cloud comes into the pits. Maybe looking for an undercut, and let's see the tires. The drivers are putting on the intermediate tires, so the undercut should be pretty powerful, but a safety car would absolutely be to the dismay of Cloud and Dismal, as they both pit on the same lap. We will see where Hitch will come out, or if he decides to pit this lap, or he waits a couple laps. But we'll watch the gap between Cloud and Fate if he starts bringing it down, or if Fate's able to keep his distance. 7 with a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, we've got quite the interval times here, and to the leader, yeah, it's quite a ways. Yeah, Cloud making up quite a bit of time here. Kryptonic now 10 seconds, and yeah, Fate almost spinning Lucid out. Thankfully backing out of that just in time. It cost him a bit of time here. How far away is Hitch from 7? Hitch going to continue on another lap. Oh yeah, 7 down the inside on the cars that are lapping him. Is he getting out of the way? Kind of. Kryptonic and Lucid into the pits. Hitch, Goat, and Fate all continuing on. And the gap was 10 seconds from Hitch to Kryptonic. Let's see what that gap is now. Well, okay, now it's a little different. We'll throw on leader, so it's easier. And it's 15 seconds. So Cloud going to be blazing ahead, but maybe some drivers going for a one-stop strategy. Others might be still two-stopping. I'm not sure what the wear on these wet tires would be. Yeah, what would the classification take? I mean, it's like, what do we have it at? 80 or 85%? And then I don't know how many laps that would be. Yeah, but it's not 3 laps. Our rules are a little different. You know that. Oh, Hitch with a 3-second time penalty. That is not going to help his case. And he gets into the pits. This Goat sets the fastest lap. What's the percentage? It does say in the rules, but I'm just not sure what the rules exactly are. Cloud sets the fastest lap and retakes the lead. We'll see what gap he ends up with. And yeah, that undercut has paid dividends here, as he is almost 5 seconds in front, while Hitch also has a penalty. But Hitch should be a little bit quicker now. 2 laps younger tires, but we'll see how that develops. We have a caution in Sector 1 and 3. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Squatch dying on these old wet tires. One of the last drivers out on track still, as everyone has shifted onto the inters, maybe hoping for a safety car. That would net him a lot of positions here, but I don't think he's going to be able to get one. And he is just going to have to go into the pits and get rid of those old wet tires. Still, the rain is coming down here in Singapore. And the drivers, this is giving them quite the challenge. As, like I said, this is one of the harder tracks. And I can't imagine that it feels great to drive in the wet. We do have a caution in Sector 2, but it's not going to light the track up yellow. Cloud with a 46.8. Our net leader, after Fate and Goat both have to pit eventually. We don't really have any battles going on track. Nerf, definitely the closest one. Yuppie on a bit older intermediate tires. Keeping the car nice and steady here. Tries to get an exit, but slides just a tad, and Yuppie is going to be able to carry that speed. Thought about a move, a little more aggressive into the braking zone. Just the exit is the hardest part right now, is what it looks like for these drivers. Nerf trying to take a different line, maybe trying a little bit of a switchback, and just could not get the car to behave. Now right on the back of Yuppie here. Into the hairpin, maybe taking a bit of a wider line, looking for an exit, but releases or lets go of the steering a little too early and ends up taking a worse line for exit speed. And really, it's a whole different world in the wet. Different ideal lines, different braking points, and all these drivers having to adapt with no assists here in Tier 1. So impressive for a lot of the drivers to even stay on track. Some of them not able to stay on track still. Which, don't get me wrong, I would have blown my left front tire off in about 3 laps, so commend all these drivers for being able to even get this far. As Matt gets by Mel, who gets into the pits as the last driver to switch off of the wet tires. Anime, the only driver on the wet. And the leaders close to each other. We've got a Williams in the background. Fate closing in on Go. With the net leader 5 seconds away. Hitch as well, catching up to Cloud little by little. 3.5 seconds. The gap was 5. But Cloud just going to be happy to hang on for right now, and Hitch also having a penalty. These two drivers continue on. Nerf and Yuppie, and these top two. The only real battles we've got on track. And Nerf very close to Yuppie, getting the move done, or at least trying to, into the start of, or into the end of the lap. Gets the move done. Not sure if it was a good move or not. Didn't catch majority of it, but up into 8th for Nerf, who is on a couple lap younger tires than Yuppie. Oh! We just saw someone smack the wall a bit. Not sure who it was. I think it must have been Lucid. I think it was the driver behind Dismal. Dismal staying relatively close to Kryptonic. Probably closer than what it would be in a dry weekend. But Kryptonic as well. very far from Hitch and Cloud, and he is sticking into net third as Cloud's starting to gain on the top two now, and you need to really think about heading into pit, but prolong it another lap as Cloud sets the fastest lap, and you can see him bearing down on the top two in the distance down the front straight. After Nerf getting by Yuppie, now putting 2 seconds between himself and the Ferrari. Squatch 10 seconds back, and these gaps towards the back of the field are quite big. Squatch 10 seconds away from Yuppie. Matt, who's 14 seconds away from Squatch. Mel, 22 seconds away from Matt. Vivoda, only 5.5 seconds away. Then Anime, 36 seconds back on the old wet tires. And then 7, a minute 40 away from his teammate. Safety car at this point will save Sevens from not being disqualified, but I don't think we'll net him any positions. As you can see, Cloud creeping up 1.5 seconds away from Fate. They've made it 15 laps on these intermediate tires. Trying to go as long as they can and maybe just going to one stop, but again, I don't know what the intended strat is. If a 2-stop is even viable in the wet, I'm not sure anything about these conditions. The top 2 drivers stay out. We have a caution in sector 2. I'm not sure who it is. The Ferrari gets by. Looks like they're able to keep moving. Cloud is caught up to the back of these 2. Not enough to be thinking about an overtake yet, but Cloud is praying that these drivers come into the pits at some point soon, because Hitch is not all that far behind, even with the penalty. You just would rather be safe. Got a caution in sector 3. Guess who? Still a caution there. We've just gotten over halfway through this race. It's taken quite a bit since the rain has slowed everyone down. Get on board with Cloud, who needs to make quick work of these front runners, as Hitch has now pulled within 2.5 seconds after the gap was 5 seconds after the pit. So maybe the tire degradation, but these front drivers maybe slowing Cloud down a bit, giving him some of the dirty air. Not sure how much of an impact that is in the wet. But again, these drivers stay out, and I think Cloud was just waiting for them to pit so he didn't have to force his way by, but now it looks like he's going to be going for a potential overtake on Fate in this lap. Hitch setting the fastest lap. Now the gap 2 seconds. He has made his way closer and closer every lap, and I think Cloud's going to try for an exit here, as Nerf gets by at Lucid, and yes, Cloud deploying the battery and getting by. Fate not fighting it too much. And now Fate separating Hitch and Cloud, and maybe playing the team game a bit, was Fate. And we'll see if he lets him by, and now there's a safety car. He's wondering why it was taking forever to get by that straight. It's because there's a safety car. So I think this is going to absolutely bail out Fate and Goat to get them on fresh intermediate tires, but it'll be interesting to see if the drivers like Cloud take a new set of intermediates and just take those to the end. We've seen that the inters can last 17 laps, but will they be able to last 25 laps on these new tires? I think it would be smart for every driver to pit for a new set of inters. I think that's what we're going to see, but sad for Cloud and Hitch now, especially Hitch if he's going to double stack, and we will see what his decision is, whether he stays out or whether he does pit. Does have a 3-second time penalty as well. Cloud into the pits, Fate into the pits, Hitch giving himself a gap. Doesn't really need to, as Kryptonic is 22 seconds off. At this point, it really doesn't matter if you double stack or not. You will still be out in front of Kryptonic. Good night, Dave. Hitch times it up and gets through the pits. Kryptonic pulls in, Dismal in as well. Looks like the Williams is coming in. Nerf is staying out. He might be the only driver on the grid. Lucid staying out behind him as well. Yuppie coming in. Squat. He'll have an interesting decision to make. And he does go in. I don't think it necessarily matters for him, so might as well be safe. We do have two drivers who did not come in on 9 and 8 lap old intermediate tires. I think they are going to be victim of this safety car, unless there's another one. Unless something happens here, but hey. The field spread comes down at about halfway through the race. Everyone forms up, and we should have quite the interesting finish. I don't think the safety car is going to wait for every single car to form up. I wish it would let the lap cars by, because that's kind of weird. Just wondering what the Red Bull was doing in the top 4. And there we go. The safety car is in, and we still have drivers that have not even finished the first sector. Oh! Hitch with a severe collision penalty, but it should be removed, I would think. With a lapped car. I would think the stewards will have a look at it and remove that one to protect the integrity of the race. But we'll see as Goat gets us underway here to start the second half of this race, and Mel just gets out of the way for everyone. Nerf and Lucid probably going to be under some heavy fire from Kryptonic. These are the only 2 drivers not to pit under the safety car. And Dismal losing out on a swat to Yuppie, sliding a bit. But so far a civil restart. And now all of a sudden, only 10 laps to go, and Goat, the clear leader so far, as Fate goes a bit wide. I think this would be his second podium. I think his first came in Austria. But again, is he going to play the team game? Doesn't appear so. He's going to just keep his position and keep going. And really helping the constructor, as this might almost be the nail in the coffin. McLaren needs almost a double top 5 for pretty much every remaining race, and they need both Alpine drivers to either be out of the points or be into the wall, but so far Alpine outscoring McLaren by quite a margin. 20-27. And Mel has retired from the race after being lapped. Being a lap down and giving Hitch a 10-second time penalty. He just calls it a day. Done enough damage. And 7 may pass him before the end of this race. We will see. The drivers had a pretty civil restart here. Not too much to say so far, as drivers have fanned out a bit. Dismal looking for his spot back on Yuppie. We can switch to the positions gained. Goat up 4 spots into the lead. Cloud starting, or is where he started. Fate and Nerf both up 3. Hitch down 3. Lucid and Kryptonic down 2 and 4. Yuppie and Dismal, the opposites of each other. One's up 2, the other is down 2. The rest of the drivers, due to a couple DNFs, are all up 1 spot. Anime up 2. With caution in Sector 1 and Sector 3 for the same exact driver. We've got some penalties. I think Lucid picked up another time penalty. Hitch has 13, but should be appealing 10 seconds of that 13-second time penalty. Nerf right behind him with no penalties. And Lucid was 6 seconds, so not really a threat to getting by Nerf. Would have to gap him in the last couple laps. Matt with a 3-second time penalty, but Voivode is 30 seconds behind, so I think he should be safe. And 7 with 18 seconds of time penalties. That might mean that Jensen passes him from Tier 2 into Tier 1. We have a caution. It's probably who you think it would be. The Ghost driver going very slow, his teammate avoiding him. Goat still the leader of this race. Cloud right there, only 7 cents separate them, and Cloud gets a great hairpin that we caught on camera. Stay in this gap. Let's pull up the tire life. Nerf somehow staying ahead. Kryptonic 3 seconds behind on those 13 lap inters. He's making them last. And he would like his top 5, possibly top 4. If he can stay within 3 seconds of hitch. Goat leading another lap, setting the fastest lap. Could have been by much, as he is not shaking Cloud. Second place. Still about 7 cents behind, now closing in on a half second. His fate is falling out of this battle for the top 2 for a possible race win. Hitch behind him. Nerf losing a bit of ground and Kryptonic gaining a bit of ground. Looks like Dismal losing out on this battle to Yuppie, and yeah. One of the Haas cars got the special livery and the other one is just the plain old Haas. Obviously the first seat and the second seat. Haas just deciding to style one of their cars. 7 out of the pits. Getting rid of some damage there, as he does make the pass on Mel. 1:38 the interval. And to the leader, yeah, maximum time. Cloud sneaking into this battle. Oh, almost losing the car down the front straight. Losing a bit of time to go. Tenths the gap now. Goat either has quite the setup down in a straight line or is using the battery. So we can see how quickly the batteries recharge in the wet, especially if you're toggling between none and then pretty much full. On the straights, you can use all your battery in the wet. You don't really have to worry about recharging it since there's so much lift and coast and not as aggressive braking. It helps the ERS recharge quite a bit. Cloud getting squirrely off of this exit and now gives up some time as Fate enters your screen. Fate would love a chance at these top 2 drivers. He might end up getting it as Cloud still pushing. Trying to catch Goat for the win, but Goat maintaining a gap. Now a second away. And like we've said, I think Goat has the better straight line speed, while Cloud has been better in Sector 2. That last lap out of the hairpin just could not get traction. I'm surprised Kryptonic has not caught up to Nerf yet. It was still right behind Hitch. Only 7/10. Been able to keep up quite well. So we see Nerf getting really close to Hitch here. Caution in front of him. Nerf maybe saving some tire life for the end of the race, and we have an overtake for the lead. Not sure what happened there. Goat must have not gotten the exit he wanted at the hairpin, and now a 10-second time penalty for ignoring a yellow flag. Not sure what that is all about. Not sure that he's the one that made an overtake, so I'm not sure what ignoring the yellow flag would be about. But now that's our second 10-second time penalty in the top 5. And if that one stands, if both of them stand, this could be quite interesting of a finishing order. But Cloud does retake the lead and now has it on penalties, but you always want to keep racing just in case that penalty does not stand. Not sure what happened to Goat, not sure what happened on the penalty as well, but we will see as Goat takes the position back. Quicker in the straight line, that is for sure. And this battling has brought the top 4 close together. I am not sure what happened with Goat and that ignoring the yellow flag. Maybe for a lapped car or something. I'm pretty sure the Williams was right in front of them when they were going into that battle. But Goat retakes the lead. Fate may be looking up the inside, but doesn't find any space. The Alpine pair trailing these top 2, and Nerf right there, but maybe not in full attack mode as his tires are 17 laps old. Only got 3 more laps to go. Dismal gets passed by Squatch now. They're battling a bit for position. Not see these two. Dismal taking the place back into Sector 3. And these top 5 all in a pack. Would have thought that Kryptonic would be up here, and he is making a charge for it, but still 1.7 behind Nerf. We have another caution. We have 2 cautions. It's 2 teammates. Now Hitch eyeing the back of his teammate. Fate not excusing him through, and probably rightfully so, as Hitch does have a 3-second time penalty that is going to be hard to work with unless anyone else is getting a penalty. We're only got a couple more laps to go here. And again, we will see if that penalty is justified or not with all the penalties. Drivers are allowed to report unfair track limit violations, whether they were pushed out of the track or whatever it may be. But it might be an interesting week for the Tier 1 stewards, who usually have a light load. This week might be looking at some penalties and seeing what should and shouldn't be reversed. Another 3-second time penalty. If there's anyone that wants this race to be over, I think it is the Williams team. Seven with his new setup. Talk about getting thrown to the fire. Wet Singapore race. And let me tell you, the rain did not let up today. Even with the safety car extending the race's duration. We did not see the rain go away. Looks like Cloud might be starting the charge to get the position in the final lap. Was a little bit closer through that sector 2, but now the gap opening up a little bit more, but now coming back down. Nerf has been on the back of Hitch the entire race. Cloud setting the fastest lap. They both pulled away from Fate. Is now 2.5 seconds back. No other insane battles down the field, so we will ride on board with these top two in the last couple laps. This Hitch gets a little squirrely. Will Nerf be able to capitalize? Looks like he's getting closer. Not sure if that's going to be close enough, though. Looks like he stays behind. Goat coming through sector 2. Only a couple more sectors to go before he has a chance at winning this race, pending a 10-second time penalty that I'm sure will be reviewed by the stewards. And here we go, the last lap of the Singapore Grand Prix. Feels like it has been a marathon to get here. And here we go. These top two drivers going to give it everything they have into the final lap. We will see as Nerf has made those 21 lap old tires work all the way to the end. Anime 3-second time penalty. Top two drivers not too close to each other, so doesn't look like a move will be made for the lead. But you never know, as I was surprised when it was made the first time. Didn't catch it on camera. Kryptonic has found his way to the back of Nerf, but I don't think he's going to be able to make any move stick. Coasting up to the back of Vivoda. Goat is going to cross the line in first. Cloud behind him, who does take first. Fate up into second, but that's all going to be on pause for now. As Nerf takes P3, and yeah, the finishing positions could be up for a flipping, depending on what happens in the steward room after this race. Going to be a big impact. Hitch, Goat fall down to 5th and 6th. Yuppie in 7th. Dismal in 8th. Squatch takes 2 points in 9th. And Lucid, after penalties, in 10th. Matt in 11th. Vivoda in 12th. Anime 13th. And 7 14th. As we've lost 2 drivers along the way, and it sounds like the fireworks show is going. I don't know if that is even possible in the rain. But you can hear him in the background. Matt missed a couple races. A welcome back race here. Chaos. As he comes home to take 11th. Vivoda in 12th, and last but not least will be Anime. Well, Anime will be before Vivoda. And takes the checkered flag, and that is it for us. As it is still pouring rain. Did not let up for these drivers one bit. As Cloud takes the win for now. Fate with the fastest lap. Nerf with a podium in his Can-Am debut. And again, everything on hold until the 10-second penalties for Hitch and Goat are figured out here. Kryptonic in 4th for the time being. Yuppie in 7th. That one should stand. Dismal in 8th, Squatch in 9th, and Lucid coming in 10th. Just behind all these drivers. If Lucid could get one of these 3-second time penalties off, then maybe he would be able to gain a lot of positions. Let's go grab the race director here. And yeah, there it is. Just in case people want to protest penalties, and I would very much assume that the 2 10-second penalties, in my opinion, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I mean, we know the contact with Mel was a lapped car in that safety car queue, as well as when Goat got his penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I'm pretty sure there was only a yellow because a lapped car was getting out of the way. It wasn't really a true yellow. So it'll be interesting to see what the stewards decide, and might set a precedent or two. But hope you enjoyed watching tonight. It's always a treat, I feel like, to be able to, get some rain, mix up the order a bit, and it's definitely a different brand of racing than just a dry race. So definitely some more battles than we've seen in the past couple of weeks, and a good rookie performance from Nerf. And good to see the grid a little more full than 13 drivers. Next week we are in Spain, and then the week after that we will be in Australia for the final sprint of the year in week 14, and that might be one of the big clinching weeks for a lot of these drivers. But anyway, I hope you all enjoy your night, morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is when you're watching this, either on Twitch or on YouTube, whether it's live or a replay. We thank you for your support, and we hope to see you next week.